6775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We're a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And of course, we celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. That is just how we roll right here. National Love People Day. Okay, we can go with that one. National Mud Pack Day. I don't think so. It's going to be about a little over 100 degrees here today. So as I record for you, National Hot Mulled Cider Day. I don't think so. Let's go with National Chewing Gum Day because there's nothing all that exciting in our celebrations of the day today. We might have to look toward tomorrow and see what we might find there because, this one's just not too thrilling. Black Dog Day is tomorrow. Homemade Cookies Day. Okay, we can go with that one. I might have to share that around all of our social channels right now because, I've beaten anorexia, so sometimes cookies are the solution. Let's take a look at the markets today, see what they are doing. Let's see. Dow Jones Industrial Average is now up 459 points. S&P 500 up 45. The NASDAQ is up 170. Oil is up 44 cents per barrel. Do we want to even look at what gasoline is doing? Because I saw that we drew down more gasoline this past week. We get those numbers every week as far as what the build or draw is to see if we're using more or less gasoline than prior weeks. So California, again, we're at 321.3 is our average price of a gallon of gasoline. Ow! 218.8 is the national average. And if you are in Mississippi, you're paying $1.84.6. So Mississippi under $2, Calizuela over $3. Unbelievable, but we've got to take care of paying for a lot of illegals and buying masks from China that the government needed to spend $1 billion on. We had to pay for a $100 billion train that no one wants to use, no one will use. Think of all the things that we're spending our money on here in Calizuela, and we don't learn. And then I saw yesterday, right before the debate, I was watching Mayor Garcetti talking about the president not funding things. Well, Mayor, if you stop wasting money on all these different initiatives that are not the pressing ones, just like every one of us, we have to make decisions in our households. We have to make decisions with our budget. There's only so much money to go around, and then when you run out of that money, you don't get any more. You can't keep spending. Well, the mayor hasn't figured that out. Last night, he's complaining that the federal government is not giving him enough money to fund things, yet I see a $10 million initiative here and a $20 million there, $50 million there. Well, the money runs out, Mr. Mayor. You gotta cut certain areas, not continue spending, and use that money that you have coming in for the intended purposes and for the priorities. What are our priorities in this country, or what should they be? Maybe educating our kids, maybe safety and security, police, fire, right? I mean, all these other things, they're nice. They're what we call elected, or they're not necessities. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words right now. Usually I'm not at a loss for words, but hey, these are issues that are optional, right? If you have a budget surplus, then you go and you do all these optional things that you want to do: infrastructure, education. Maybe education shouldn't be on there. Maybe we need to take that off the plate of the city of Los Angeles, county of Los Angeles, state of California, right? Maybe we need to go to a straight old voucher system so the money goes straight from the federal government to the school of choice through a voucher, right? Do you think that would help our lowest performing students? Because if they have the opportunity to if parents have the opportunity to make that choice, and I know that I'm not going to be a fan with the unions, I never am, but here's the issue. If the parents have the opportunity to decide where they want their kids to be educated, every school, be it public, be it charter, be it private, every school will improve. Why? It's called competition. And, you know, the unions don't like it. They're not going to like me. They never do, because they don't have control over just saying, you know something, pay your union dues. We're going to spend the money how we want. We're not going to pay the teachers. We're not going to take money out of that budget. Teachers will still be underpaid. And it doesn't matter whether the kids get a great education or not. The unions don't care about that. Watch as the election comes up. Take a look at the back of every piece of mail you get. And I know you're going to be getting a lot of it. But take a look at the back of every piece of mail and see who's paying for that item. I will guarantee you that there's going to be a lot of initiatives that have nothing to do with school. Who do you think is the one that wants to make Uber drivers employees? Yeah, it's the unions. That's their idea. If they can make them employees, then you have more control, then they can unionize, and then they make more money. Think about that concept. That's what's going on with some of these things. And I'll be willing to bet $1 to your favorite charity that there's going to be a lot of these initiatives that you're going to see the promotion is going to be the labor unions, the teachers union, the SEIU. They're the ones promoting it. The one, Prop 15, they're going to be the one promoting that one, because if you can get more money into the government, they can go and lobby or dictate to the politicians, is a better word, because the politicians have to do what these unions say because they're the ones giving them money. So when they give them that money, then they do what they tell them. Then we have less money in the budget. Then we get comments like Garcetti's yesterday, where where he doesn't have enough money in the city. Well, you know something? Make better choices, Mr. Mayor. You'll have that opportunity. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we got a mortgage minute we're going to talk about. I'm going to also give you my take on some of the debate issues. Why? Because they do have, who our next president is, will have a bearing on your finances. And that's what we're thinking about. We'll have a bearing on our housing. We're already seeing it right now. Why? Because we're seeing what's going on in the markets, interest rates, all of those things are affected. So we're going to chat about that with you. We've got a lot to talk about this morning, because we've got several items about your credit, why your credit limit might be lower due to coronavirus, why lenders need to pull your credit, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few. Are you
you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990, or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990, or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, any mortgage, Gold Star, they've got the programs. You just need to make that call. Again, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We start every Mortgage Minute the very same way. We take a look at what's going on in the markets for you, give you an update on that. So we can tell you right now the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 464 points. The NASDAQ's up 174 points. S&P 500 up 45 points. 10-year Treasury is up 5 basis points. Mortgage-backed securities, they are down 17 basis points. Why is all of that happening? We're going to tell you right now. Well, we hit some technical resistance on the upside. Stocks sharply higher, mortgage bonds lower after failing to break above that overhead resistance that we've talked to you about. Home sales are flying. Pending home sales, which measures signed contracts on existing homes, were up 8.8% in August after 15.9% gain in July. The index is now at an all-time high. Year-over-year sales are up 24.2%, which is a big improvement from 15.5% in the previous report. It's incredible to see the index at a record high since they started tracking pending sales roughly 20 years ago, all in the face of record low inventory numbers. Earlier this morning, the Mortgage Bankers Association released their mortgage application data for the week, showing that overall application volume was down 4.8% from the previous week. Refinances decreased by 7% last week but are 52% higher year over year. Purchases down 2%, but on a year over year basis are still 22% higher. Interest rates were decreased slightly from 3.1 to 3.05 to 96 basis points, or almost 1% lower than this time last year. Remember, the MBA rate is for last week and always includes a fraction of a point. In this case, 0.52. The refinance share of mortgage activity decreased slightly to 63.3% of all loans, down from 64.3%. First of two important jobs numbers was released this morning. The ADP employment report showed that there was a gain of 749,000 jobs in the month of September, which was better than the 650,000 expected. Additionally, August report was revised higher by 53,000 to 428,000, from 428 to 481. Friday, we're going to get the more important BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics jobs report, where estimates are calling for about 900,000 new jobs in September. Looking deeper into where the jobs within today's ADP report came from, trade, transportation, and utilities grew by 186,000. Manufacturing added 130,000. Leisure and hospitality added 92,000. Education and health, 90,000. All some really good numbers right there. So we'll share those statistics on our social channels a little bit later in the day today. I've got a couple charts being made. Even though the report was better than expectations, a decent number, let's not forget that according to ADP, the economy lost 19.7 million private sector jobs in March and April and has since recovered back 9.3 million. Got a bit of a ways to go on that. Final or third look at the Q2 GDP came in at a negative 31.4%, basically unchanged from the second look at 31.7%. Obviously, very, very weak. We do expect a big bounce in the third quarter, however. Mortgage bonds are moving lower after failing to break that resistance. That's technical stuff. You're probably not going to want to know about all the technical stuff that we share with you on Ron Siegel Radio. But hey, you know something? It's good to know about these things, just because that's where some of the lenders that really don't know what they're talking about, they're just out there order takers. They're not watching these things for you. They're not understanding where these numbers are coming from. And if somebody doesn't understand these numbers, then how can they be your guiding light? So just a little bit of information right there for you. We share that every day on Ron Siegel Radio because, you know, leading a private lending team, I'm always having to watch these things to see what's going on to make sure we are helping out the families that we are serving. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by Gold Star Mortgage. So we're getting, let's take a look at what happened in the news right now. We didn't even get to that in the first segment because I got on a little bit of a rabbit trail there. Obviously, the news of the day, the brawl in Ohio. The debate in Ohio yesterday. I think that Dana White should have been there to look at it as a more of an MMA match, because did you learn anything from it? I don't know. Both gentlemen seem to be a little bit nasty to each other. President Trump interrupting former Vice President Biden repeatedly. Former Vice President Biden being totally disrespectful to the President of the United States. Whether you like the man or not, he is still the President of the United States, referring to him as a clown and a liar. You know, those are subjective opinions. I don't know that there's any place that you can actually look to and see that either one of those are actually have been held to be true. Does the president embellish things? He's a salesman. Yes, he does. So that doesn't surprise me. Obviously, Chris Wallace, not a fan of the president. You could tell that very clearly last night. So there's a lot of areas where you see that people are saying it was 2-on-1, Biden and Wallace against the president. I don't know if I saw it as well that much. I did find it fascinating that Vice President Biden couldn't figure out that Antifa is an organization. He says it's just a slogan. Really? And it's not all that dangerous. I don't know. It seems to me that there's a lot of damage going on with these things. So I kind of wonder about that. CNN calls presidential debates a S show and a disgrace, blames Trump. Biden pushes back against ties to Bernie Sanders during that debate. Okay, so they are tight. Eric Swalwell, I don't know that he's ever said anything that I would agree with. Bit of a, in my opinion, a bit of a loon.
Nothing like a little air superiority.
He says Vice President Biden won the debate. Well, I think if the bar was set so low, I think that many people, probably maybe even in Swalwell's case, if he was able to stand up for the whole debate, that might have been what they call winning the debate. The next one's going to be fascinating because the next debate is actually not the same format. It's a town hall format. And that's where, each candidate sits there on a stool, and then when they get asked a question, they're going to go walking around the stage. Usually the stage is in a circle. I don't know how you do a town hall meeting when you're not bringing people in, when you're basically trying to do it with as few people as possible. So we'll wonder about that one. I do admit or believe, when you look at Vice President Biden, he seems like he's a bit frail. Am I the only one that had that opinion? It looked like he was at times searching for his words. I don't know if that was just my perception or if that was actually the case, but it seemed to me it was fascinating just watching the former vice president doing his thing right there. So that's just a little bit of information on that for you. What else is going on in the news? We're going to take a look at that one. Let's see, Sean Hannity, you know what he had to say. That's pretty simple stuff. Flustered. Biden was flustered, irritated, cranky. That's a pretty simple one to understand. Liz Peek, I like listening to her because she's a little more analytical. She says, first presidential debate leaves no clear winner. President Trump needs to do this at next face-off is basically talk about what he's done. Vice President Biden doesn't have any plans. His whole campaign, from what I heard last night, is I'm not going to do the same things you did, or in some instances, I'm just going to follow in your footsteps. I don't know that there's any, other than the fact of 4 million new buildings in the country, where's he going to pay for them? How's he going to force us to pay? He's going to raise our taxes and force us to rebuild all of our buildings. Not sure I understand how that works. Where are you going to put the people when you decide that you're going to rebuild 4 million new buildings? And I don't care whether it's done over 4 years, 8 years, 10 years, 20 years. 4 million buildings is a lot of buildings to redo. Where are the businesses, especially if you're looking at larger buildings? Where are you going to put those businesses? How are those businesses going to afford rehab and also to relocation at the same time? Or are you planning on just putting those people out of business while you get your social agenda in place? Unbelievable. I don't get it. Los Angeles police face troubling spike in assaults against them. According to the chief, assaults on Los Angeles police officers have skyrocketed this year, fueled by ongoing protests. Wait. The protests are all peaceful, according to Nancy Pelosi. How could they be a problem with the protests?
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Fascinating. During a meeting with the city's civilian-led police commission, Police Chief Michael Moore said there were 282 felony assaults against his officers this year, compared with 110 in the same period last year. Anybody that's got half a brain has to find that troubling. 156% surge in a year when police departments are under increasing pressure to institute reforms. Most of the incidents occurred during peaceful protests against police brutality and racial injustice that swept the country over the summer. Fascinating. Calling on community leaders and elected officials to voice their support. When is that going to happen? We've been watching for it. I haven't seen it. But I wonder what the heck happened here. Everything, all my stuff opened up all at one time right in front of my screen. I don't know what the heck was happening there. So we're going to have to clean things up a little bit so I can get my reports back. Whoops, there. That's... you got to love it when with technology. So a lot of problems there in Los Angeles. See what else is going on in the news. Judiciary antitrust report likely to come out as soon as next Monday, the U.S. House Judiciary report. Did you see the other news of the day? This was fascinating. Came out mid-afternoon yesterday. President Obama was aware of the fact that Hillary Clinton had planned for the disinformation campaign and planning to set up the president. That was kind of an interesting report. It was on a declassified document that came out yesterday, right before there was going to be some congressional testimony today, is the reason that it came out at that time. So found that one fascinating as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, why selling this fall may be your best move, why your credit limit might be lower due to coronavirus, why lenders need to pull credit, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter, @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part: you still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest, SLT Home Digest to 79564. find your dream home before someone else does. The digest actually tells you what the county recorder knows about your property, what the market thinks about your property. Free service from your friends at Ron Siegel Radio. I just give that to you because most people don't pay attention to their real estate. It's like a set it and forget it. It's the only area of our home finance that we do that. I find it fascinating that we look at our 401k. We're not going to really take that for 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And we look at those 401k statements, which you should. We look at our asset statements, our bank statements, our brokerage statements. But our biggest asset that we have that we're going to generally keep between 9 and 10 years as a national number, we just put it in the bank and forget about it. Basically, we say, or put it in the safe. I mean, you signed your loan docs. Hopefully they're somewhere where you can find them. And then you don't think about them from there. SLT Home Digest, text SLT Home Digest at 895. Easy for me to say. My voice is going out as well as my brain today. But again, go to mbelinks.com/SLT Home Digest. All spelled out, no spaces. You'll be able to get the report, sign up for it. Totally free. It comes to you once a month. How do you make an educated decision if you're not educated? If you're thinking about moving, selling your house this fall might be the way to go. 4 highlights in the housing market that may make your decision to sell this fall an easy one. Number 1, buyers are actively in the market. Showing Time, a leading real estate showing software and market stat service provider, just reported that buyer traffic jumped 60.7% compared to this time last year. That's a huge increase. It's clear that buyers are ready, willing, and able to purchase, and they're in the market right now. In many regions of the country, multiple buyers are entering bidding wars to compete for the home they want. Take advantage of the buyer activity currently in the market so you can sell your house in the most favorable terms. Number 2, there are not enough homes for sale. In the latest existing home sales report, the National Association of Realtors, NAR, announced that there were only 1.49 million units available for sale. That number was down 18.6% from 1 year ago. This means in the majority of the country, there are not enough homes for sale to satisfy the number of buyers. Due to the health crisis, many homeowners were reluctant to list their homes earlier this year. That will change as the economy continues to recover. The choices buyers have will increase going into the new year. Don't wait until additional sellers come to market before you decide to make a move. Number 3, the process is going quickly. Today's ultra-competitive environment has forced buyers to do all they can to stand out from the crowd, including getting pre-approved for their mortgage financing. This makes the entire selling process much faster and simpler as buyers know exactly what they can afford before shopping for a home. According to the latest Origination Insights report from Ellie Mae, the time needed to close a loan is just 49 days. Number 4, there may never be a more important time to move. You've likely spent much of the last 6 months in your current home. Perhaps you now realize how small it is and you need more space. If you're working from home, your children are doing virtual school, or you just need more space, your current floor plan may not work for your family's changing needs. Home builders are beginning to build houses again, so you can choose the exact floor plan to match what your family needs, and you can make sure the outdoor space is what you want too. Bottom line, the housing market is prime for sellers right now, so let's connect to get the process started. If the timing is right for you and your family, the market is calling your name. And as I've shared with you before, I am not a realtor. I do have a license, but I don't do that. I'm not qualified. And there's a lot of people that aren't willing to tell you that. They're not willing to say that, you know something, this is a specialty. This is an issue that, there's people that out there that understand the fact that what are their limitations? What is their lane? And if somebody's a contractor by day and realtor by night, I'm going to suggest to you they're probably not in the right lane. They're probably not going to have all the education, especially in a time like this. Right now, these times that we're in are totally different than anything we've done in the past. They are totally different. So when you're thinking about normalcy under normal times, hey, you go and you see the houses. Someone's going to go and show you homes. They're going to figure out what you need. They're going to understand what the rules of the game are. There's a lot of new COVID rules. Do you think some of the part-timers understand what all these new rules are? Do they understand where the market is, what's been happening in the market? I'm going to submit to you that many of them, they don't, it fascinates me, just fascinates me, how many times we see that contracts that are done incorrectly. Can you imagine being a full-time real estate professional and your contracts are being done incorrectly? Does that make any sense to you? Could you imagine that? But that's what we see all the time. We see it happening. It's frustrating to those people that are in the business all the time. They're out there looking and saying, okay, you know something? Why is it that the bar to entry of getting into helping somebody with the largest purchase they're going to make in their lifetime? And I don't know whether it's your first house is going to be the largest or the second house or the fifth house. One of those houses is going to be your largest purchase of your life. And most of us, I'm not going to say everyone, but I am going to say the vast majority of the people, their house is going to be their biggest purchase. Their mortgage is going to be their largest liability that they ever have in their lifetime. So why is it that they try and go with the cut rate individual? Walmart's great for some things, but do you want the Walmart of real estate, or do you want the best? Do you want to go to a Walmart cardiologist? All right, let's see if I can find the cheapest cardiologist there is in the world. No, it's just not the way it works. So just a little bit of word to the wise. That's the real-time real estate segment. I thought I'd share with you also, if you are thinking, some realities that sellers need to know about their listing. And if your real estate professionals aren't telling you this, I'm glad you're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, because we're going to tell you this information. Certain adrenaline rush all sellers feel when their home first hits the market and when they see their listing go live online. They might have been preparing for you might be preparing for months, weeks, days to get your house ready, get those emotions out of the way. I use the term getting divorced from your home, because once you decide to sell, think of that as an asset that you're trying to maximize the value of that asset. Try and divorce yourself from the feelings, hey, you know something, this is where I got engaged. This is where I got married. This is where my kids grew up. Okay, I understand all that. Those are great memories. But when you made the decision to sell that property, let's look at it as an asset so that you understand the basics there. Let's remember, as the seller, that photos are not always true to life. There are some, you need to get a great photographer. You need to have a professional photographer. Your agent is the one that's the important one to follow what they have to say, right? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to tell you right now that you need to have professional photography. The colors may not translate perfectly. Cream-colored walls, for example, may look somewhat yellow in photos. Interior and exterior spaces can seem smaller or even larger than they really are. Photos also draw attention to certain flaws, like an aging roof. That happens frequently when we're dealing with some of the photos, and you get drone photos that'll show that. So you may see that. You can't go photoshopping. That is not part of the process. You're not allowed to do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to mislead somebody. So you can't edit out the power line that's in the back. You can't change the colors. No photoplastic surgery. Think about that one. Turning a pale lawn into an emerald green carpet of grass. Again, wiping out the power lines, utility poles. Not permitted. Could you imagine what a buyer is going to say if they see pictures like that? Could you imagine they're going to come in and say, what else am I being misled about? Photo roulette is another one. Speaking of photos, sellers often want to play photo editor in chief when it comes to determining the selection, placement, and order of the pictures to be used in a listing. Although this is a highly subjective process, sellers should keep in mind that this is where an agent's expertise comes into play. I can tell you this, I talked to a company that does the photos and tracks where people are spending the majority of their time. And it fascinates me to see this, that they're spending the majority of their time which photos they look at. I love to see that part of it, just because it tells us that we're what we need to focus on. So through this process of doing these studies, people like to go in sequence through the property. Show them the front of the house. You might even show them the common area if that's a selling feature. But show them from the front of the house. What are they going to see when they walk in the front door? What are they going to see when they go in that entryway? Are they going to see a living room, a family room, a dining room, whatever? Right? Show them that. You're going to take more pictures of the areas that you want to highlight. But if you get the pictures in a walking tour type method, people are going to actually enjoy that. They're going to get more value from it. If they get more value from it, they may get into a position that it works. Just throw that in there. See if we can get that done for you as far as the sequencing. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, we're going to talk about some credit. We're going to go through the rest of these items that are in this report. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you, but the replay is available, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRE NMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer, they've got the solutions for you. You just need to make the call. Or you can just go right to our website, mysocallender.com, mysocallender.com. We've talked to you about that one in the past as well. Why lenders need to pull credit. Here's the issue. It's a basis. Letting your lender pull credit is necessary. It'll help you to understand what kind of house you can afford, what kind of down payment you can afford. What's awesome is that the mortgage industry, you can have your credit pulled multiple times within a 30 to 45-day window without it counting multiple times against your credit, meaning that you can have your credit pulled within a 30 to 45-day window, and it'll only count against your credit score once. For the multiple times your credit will be pulled, the crazy thing is it will only knock off about 2 to 3 points from your credit score. It's not a big issue. So if you have questions about credit and pulling, if you ever get to a point where you're looking at trying to buy a piece of property, and you tell the lender, you know something, I don't want to have my credit pulled. Any reputable lender is going to know that you can't get a legitimate read. You can't run an automated underwriting to go through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac to go to Desktop Underwriter or Loan Prospector. You can't get that without having a credit report attached to the file. So make sure that you do that all the time. Make sure you're watching that. If somebody tells you that that you're approved without running your credit, it's basically unfortunately in the lending industry, there's a lot of deception. And Dodd-Frank tried to get rid of that deception, tried to get that out of the marketplace. But it just didn't really happen. They didn't get it done as much as they might have otherwise. So be aware that that's kind of the situation there. It happens. The lending, there's people that'll say, okay, well, you're approved. I had one the other day that said, well, they approved me for 2.625 with no cost, no points, with an assumed value and an appraisal waiver. So did they run your credit? No. Well, then you're not approved. They might have looked at some numbers and listened to things. There's a lot of people that call on a regular basis. I get this. People will call and tell me they've got a credit score. And I say, does it say credit score or does it say FICO score? And more often than not, they'll say, what says credit score? I said, well, credit score can't be used for anything in the lending world. You've got to have a FICO score. Without a true FICO score, you're not getting any value. It's not the right numbers to make things work for you. I'm just going to throw that out there, kind of the way it is. So that is the Your Credit Matters, again, brought to you by mysocallender.com, mysocallender.com. So going back to this, some things that you need to think about if you're selling your property. So here's an issue, rip off and repeat. It's not allowed. I've heard people say, well, we can just use the old pictures. No, it doesn't work that way. Those old pictures that were taken are the property of whoever paid for them. In most cases, it is the realtor that paid for those pictures, and it was licensed to them, or they're using them by permission of the photographer. So there's an agreement between the two. If you're going to go and use them for a different purpose, well, then somebody's got to be paid for that, or it's against the MLS rules. The realtor could lose their license for it. They can be reprimanded for it. There's a lot of different things in there, so it's a no-no. So and there might be a reason why your first realtor did not get your property sold. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe the reason is that the pictures weren't good. The marketing wasn't right. It didn't sell. It didn't appeal. So we don't want to get you involved in or deal with any copyright violations or violating the MLS rules. What is the description of your property? So your agent is not allowed to write a thesis about your home in the MLS, right? So the MLS has a designated amount of space for public comments description, for private comments. That's what things that are going to go back and forth between agents. It's not going going to be syndicated into multiple sources, right? So those are the items that are character count. So if they put in a bunch of exclamation points or a bunch of periods or a bunch of space, can't do that, right? Because it's going to use up the amount of space they have to describe your property. So remember that part. Be careful when you see these different agents that put their information all in capitals. How's that going to look when it gets to the syndication of websites that you want your property to go to? Right? So we want to make sure that the appropriate information is in there. That's why you see so much creativity with the abbreviations. We want people to be able to understand what the property is. We want to develop that word's eye view, I call it. But you also have to make sure that the information is within the right area. So, you might want, you also want to be accurate again here. Don't mislead people. You don't want to have it say turnkey or move right in if the property hasn't been updated in 20 years. You don't want to say totally remodeled if that's not the case. So just be careful of these things. You have to really watch out. There are checkbox areas that the realtor can complete, right? So if you have a wood burning fireplace, well, there's an area on there that says fireplace. Right, so all they have to do is check that. So maybe using up your a character count for wood burning fireplace is not what you want to do, right? So if it's air conditioning, you don't need to put air conditioning. There's a checkbox for air conditioning. I would say the vast majority of homes probably have air conditioning now, unless it's in an area along the beach or along the coast area. A lot of homes don't have air conditioning, so that's a selling feature. Understand that the MLS is a complex database that has a lot of rules, regulations, and procedures for how information is inputted, managed, and maintained. It's time sensitive, so it's always changing as new listings are added, sales are reported, closed, price changes happen, properties go under contract. So just be careful of trying to get your agent to manipulate too much data over time there. Be also cognizant of, maybe I don't want to have my house shown today. Do you really want your agent to go in and put that in under the public comments? Probably not a good idea. Probably not in your best interest if you're trying to sell it. Once your home sells or once you're buying a new home, photo removal. This is one that I find fascinating, that people really want to deal with photo removal. Think about this. The property was, as soon as you hit the MLS, unless it's set up where it's private, it's going to be syndicated. You want it to go to all these different websites all over the world. Well, if that's the case, do you really think that there's a possibility to get all those pictures back, get all those pictures removed? Not going to happen. On top of that, there are issues in there that you're going to take advantage of somebody else's pictures, or you're going to need somebody else's pictures if you're one of the 70% of America that finances their home, right? Because you're going to need an appraisal and you're going to be looking at what the other properties in the market did, right? So if that's the case, well, then you've got to be looking at the older pictures, because if your appraiser can't see that your kitchen is nicer than the one that just sold down the street, how are they going to know to give you a benefit for that extra work that you did on your property? So be aware of that part of it. The days on market, price changes, listing histories, those are all things that going into sales of your property. So you want to watch out for that stuff as well, because it's going to help you, right? It's going to help you if your property is 1 or 2 days on the market, 3 days on the market. Well, it's going to draw more attention to it because it's going to be at the top of the searches and get you some better information right there, get you better sense of timeliness, right? If there's not a sense of urgency to a buyer, they may not go and try and think, well, it's been on the market for 17 days, 18 is not going to matter. And that might be the case, but if a property's been on the market 2 days, 3 might matter a lot, right? Because somebody might have seen it the first or second day. It might have just hit these syndications, might have just hit a caravan, and somebody's been able to see it, and now they're ready to go and make that purchase. So I just throw that out there for you to consider. And as always, I ask you, set that first radio preset button to come back and join Ron Siegel Radio every single day at this time. You can reach me anytime. My off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Also want to thank John and Sean, who are engineering us today. And a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.